Good afternoon. Okay, this is going to be a continuation of the beginning of this little series putting out there regarding the many bad reasons why people don't file for Social Security disability when they really should. It's one thing if someone has looked at all of the facts and laws and decided it's not for them. This fan is making the hair go on my face. That's one thing if they're fully informed, but a lot of people are under misinformation, I guess you'd say, with regard to certain things around, the status of the law and what it means and what it's going to mean to them to file, and they don't file. And because Social Security disability is term insurance, and if you wait too long, you snooze, you lose. I can't stand to see people not filing for reasons that are incorrect, because I've never seen one of them not regret it, ever. Okay, so we went through the first one, which was they felt that because they weren't bedridden or wheelchair bound, they wouldn't be eligible and they shouldn't apply because they were still getting around and about. They couldn't work full time, but they, could do something, and they could walk and they could get around and shop. They live alone, that kind of thing. So they didn't think they were eligible. That was the first myth. So that would be in the first video, the explanation about how to get around that. And why that wouldn't be an appropriate reason not to file. The second one, which we'll go over today, is a person might say, I don't want a handout. I'm not poor. I can get by without filing for this benefit thanks to my family and my savings. That's number two. And let's go over that. That is the worst reason. First of all, Social Security disability is not a handout. This drives me insane. And in fact, you know how they use the term entitlements this, entitlements that. And I say a true entitlement is something that you are owed. You either bought it, you worked for it, you previously owned it and still do, whatever the case may be, you're entitled to it. There are things that are entitlements. And I would say Social Security disability is one because we paid for it. The individual, the worker, worked for it, paid the premiums for it, and therefore they're entitled to be able to apply if they feel that the shoe fits. I would say this is not the same as SSI, as we've gone over a gazillion times, and there's videos on that. Let me know if you need to know where to find out the difference between SSD and SSI. SSI is a welfare program, and I would say that is not an entitlement. Who's entitled to welfare because they think they deserve it? Nobody, in my opinion. Entitlements are things that we are entitled to, not things that are being gifted to us out of the kindness of society, or loved ones or whatever. So I find the wordage to be really troublesome when I see it thrown about, entitlement. And now people get confused and think that Social Security disability is in the same boat as SSI, and it's not. It is not a handout. It's not charity. It is not welfare. Some years ago, I think the powers that be decided not to use the word welfare when it came to SSI because they thought it would upset people. I don't really care if that's going to upset somebody. It's the reality. It's the reality of it. So they changed the verbiage to needs-based, which it is. So that might be soft and fluffy for some people to be able to absorb better. But the fact is the same: welfare, handout, however you want to call it. But Social Security disability is not. It is no more than any other insurance you buy. We buy automobile insurance. Let's say we have plenty of money in the bank and we cracked up our car and we had comprehensive insurance on our collision. Do we not file the automobile claim for the body shop work because we have money in the bank? We don't need to make the claim on our insurance. Yeah, I have the $10,000 to fix it. I'll just pay for it myself instead of paying the $500 deductible I have and having my insurance pay for it, which I've been paying for them for that fund for them to fix it when it happens. No, we would all file, that, and this is no different. You've been paying for it. What some people don't look at which might drive it home even more, when you don't file and that for that or any other reason, but you might be depriving, you're going to lose so many other things if you don't end up going back to work. First of all, if you file and you have kids, they're going, minor children, they're going to be getting a benefit too. So you not filing and prevailing is depriving them of something that, who knows, could have been a nest egg for them later. Had you, been able to save the money for them, maybe not use it for overhead, and, supporting their basic needs. If you don't file and you don't go back to work, your retirement benefits are, I'm going to say the vast majority of the time, diminishing as we speak. Because remember, the assumption with the amount that you think you're getting for retirement that you might see on your annual Social Security earnings statement is a estimate based on a presumption that you continue working at the level you were until 62. So if you're, say, 45, 46, and you become disabled and you decide not to file because you are, able to get by without it, and you don't want to hand out, and, maybe you're embarrassed, and you can rely on, a spouse or your own savings or a 401k, or maybe you have a trust fund. I don't know. Your retirement amount is not going to be what you think it's going to be. It's going to be smaller, by and large, because they're going to be looking at the top 35 years. They assumed that we usually make more money as we progress through life, right? Because we have more experience, more skills, more seniority, whatever the case may be. And they're going to assume that the last year gets continued on until 62. That's how the estimate is created. And now suddenly all those years that they were using in their calculation are zeros. So if you were 48 going to 62, how much is that? That's 14 years worth of zeros that they estimated were maybe what you were making last year. Maybe you were making $50,000 a year, and now 14 of those years are zeros. Imagine how that decimates your retirement. It's called your primary insurance amount. It's what your disability would be based on and what your retirement would be based on. So you're killing it by not filing. All right, so it's not a handout. You've been paying for it since you first got that tax paying job. All right, don't forego it, And like I said, your dependents, if they would have gotten a benefit, you might be depriving them of that as well. That would include also a spousal benefit later, might be limited because you took this action now of not filing. If they're going to be relying on you and your primary insurance amount to give them a greater benefit later. Okay. That's a whole nother video about how that works if you're not familiar with it. But anyway, number 2, don't not file because you think it's a handout, because it's not a handout, not at all. All right. Ciao, guys. Bye.